Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my sexy throaty voice that I have going on. No, I actually lost my voice last weekend at Wanderlust, screaming for those books. It was a good time. And I'm going to give you something else to scream about for my October TBR. Just kidding. I'm going to give myself something to scream about because I did stack my TBR with some spooky, haunting, paranormal books, hopefully, as well as rereading some favorites from the past. And I'm very excited to share this TBR with you. So we're going to get going. Hopefully this video won't be as long as the last two that I filmed. It shouldn't be, but we'll see. So as always, I like to start off with my buddy reads and read-alongs that I'm a part of. So the first one, as always, and this cover is literally the reason why I wanted to buy these books. Or I wanted to buy these covers. I'm not even kidding with you. So Tower of Dawn is the book for October. And in October, we actually have two of our live shows for the SJM along, but the first one is October 1st. And so it's for the September book, but it's on October 1st is when we're doing it. So on October 31st, Halloween, we're gonna be talking about Tower of Dawn. We'll be going back to to a new place because we will be going to check out where Kale had to go. So we'll be in the southern continent, which is a place we haven't went before. So we're going to see what Kale is getting up to. And this absolutely gorgeous cover. Kale and Nezrin. Look at this. This is beautiful. I'm so excited to reread this book. Very intrigued to see the stories it has to tell me. This is actually my only signed copy. Let's see, where is it? And I got to go to the book signing for this one. It's my signed Sarah J. Maas copy. And very excited. This live show will be on my channel. There's quite a few that have moved to my channel now, just because number one, I like being in control. Like, there are other people who would have taken them when the original host got busy, but I like being in charge anyway. So I was like, no, I'll just take them. It's fine. I'm happy to be in charge. The other book that I'm reading for a live show is our Rake Appreciation Society for October, and that live show, I can't remember when it is off the top of my head, but it'll be the third Wednesday in October. We'll be reading The Lotus Palace by Jeannie Lynn. I'm super intrigued to read a Jeannie Lynn. There is an audiobook for this one. I just purchased it in the Audible sale that was going on, and so this one says this: Maidservant Yu Ling is not one of those beauties. Street smart and practical, she's content to live in the shadow of her infamous mistress until she meets the aristocratic playboy Bai Huang. Bai Huang, or Bai Huang, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, I don't know, lives a life of privilege, lives in a privileged world Yu Ying can barely imagine, let alone share. But as they are thrown together in an attempt to solve a deadly mystery, they both start to dream of a different life. Yet, Bai Huang's position means that all she could ever be to him is his concubine. Will she sacrifice her pride to follow her heart? So this is going to be my first Jeannie Lynn, and I'm very excited to read this. This is almost 10 years old. This came out in 2013. So we're going to be reading this and discussing it on Crystal's channel. And then I'm going to be buddy reading a book with Jessin from Jessin Reads Romance. We both have been recommended many, many times this book. And after we read Does It Hurt in August, I was like, what if we try one of the other H.D. Carltons that everyone talks about, and that is Haunting Adeline. The audiobook just came out. I also just purchased that in the Audible sale, and so I asked her, I was like, would you have time to buddy read that book with me? We don't really buddy read, like, let's start this day and end this day. Anyway, we just both agreed we're like going to start it around the same time and talk about it. I've heard this is a really dark duet. I'm prepared to dive into the second one as soon as it comes out, but for now we're just promising to read the first one. Then quickly I will mention the books I'm reading for my Patreon in October. If you don't know, I have a Patreon where viewers can support me doing this full time. I am a full-time book reviewer, video maker, supporter of the romance community. That's what I do. And one of the levels in my Patreon is that people can vote on a book for me to read and give a review exclusive for them. And so the book that they picked for October, I will only be reviewing this book for Patreon. So if you want to know what I'll think about it, I do an exclusive, in-depth, non-spoiler then spoiler review, like they're in one, talking about it, and then I only ever tell you what my ratings are on the channel. And I think this is one of the first ones where people are going to be a little irritated about that, so we'll see if it can push some activity to the Patreon. You know, that's what we're here for. I gotta pimp myself out now and then, y'all. Pimp myself out for the romance. But the group book that got picked, what happens is I have this little trope jar where a couple months ago I had everybody give me their favorite tropes and subgenres, and then I pick one of these, and then everybody gives me recommendations for that, and then we do a poll and you pick. So Enemies to Lovers was the choice for October, and there was some books recommended, and Flawless by Elsie Silver was chosen. So this will be my first Elsie Silver. I do wish there was an audiobook for this one, but that's okay because I have to annotate as I read it anyway. And then also, I didn't say this, the book that gets read for Patreon gets raffled off. People can enter in to win the book that I annotated, so that's cool. Then the books that people are, one of the tiers, my highest tier, is people can pick a book to have me personally annotate for them, and that's my highest level. There are no spots available for that because this is a lot of work. It is fun work, but it is work. So we have some that are rereads for me. I'm going to reread Savage Hearts. This is the only book in this series that I haven't annotated yet, so I'm excited. All the other ones are annotated, so whenever someone picks that one, I can just buy them a copy and transfer my notes. But I haven't reread this one while annotating it, so excited to do that. Wolf Gone Wild, happy to do this one. I've done this one a few times now. I always got to show off my artwork in mine. Adorable. We got Breath of Fire. This patron, they picked Promise of Fire this month, which I haven't got to do my reread yet, but I will be. And so then I'll reread Breath of Fire in October, which will be interesting because I will be reading A Curse of Queens. I have an arc of A Curse of Queens I haven't got to yet. So I'll be like reading that and then like reading these two. So that'll be interesting. Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. Cannot wait to revisit this book. I love this one. This one has a deaf heroine, but everyone thinks that she is touched in the head because she can't hear and they don't like understand what happened to her. Then Unhinged by Onley James. I need to buy a new copy of that. I did unhaul those books recently, not because I didn't love them, I just didn't think that I would reread them, and I've been culling my library lately, and it has been very freeing to like decide which books are like must keeps and which books I can pass along. You know what I mean? It feels good. And then finally, I have one that I'll be reading that I have no idea what it's about. I haven't even looked it up yet, but this is for my patron and I trust what she chose, and it is His Saving Grace by, I think it's Kylie Gopal. I couldn't remember when I wrote it down, so there we go. Those are all the books I will be reading and annotating and then shipping off to my patrons when I get them done. If you're interested in checking out my Patreon, there are some other levels. You also get exclusive videos that no one else will ever see, behind the scenes stuff, reading vlogs, and we're going to be starting to do some private reading sprints too, which I'm excited to pull out there. All right, next section is arcs and new releases. So this section is always very exciting because it's either books that I will read as soon as they come out, books that I've requested arcs for, or books that I will request arcs for, if that makes sense. So we're gonna go through these. So first, I actually have a physical arc, so I'm going to show you that one. This one was sent to me by Thomas Nelson off of HarperCollins, and it is Within These Gilded Halls by Abigail Wilson. I think this might be a Christian romance, though. I'm not sure. It might not be based on what the author writes about, but I was warned that this one might not be steamy, but it's so beautiful. And this one comes out on October 4th. So I may try to read this pretty soon. It's not super long, and it is a mystery. So it says hidden treasures and betrayal mingle with unexpected love in Abigail Wilson's latest Regency romance. So I've never read this author, but based on what my like reading profile is, they sent me this book. And so I'm intrigued by it. I will hold this up, and if you'd like to pause and read it, or you want to look it up, you can do that. My throat is too sore to like read full blurbs, but you can check that out if you want. And I haven't had many physical arcs from like from publishing companies lately. I don't get those too often, so that made me feel special. But I do have another book. This wasn't an arc of it, but it was sent to me by the author, and unfortunately, like, I haven't been able to find her. Like, she doesn't have an Instagram that I could tag her in, so I haven't been able to. But one of my friends actually already read this one and really liked it. And this one has polyamory, bisexual themes, forbidden and unrequited love, friends to lovers, light edge play / denial, and group sex. So this book is going to have like all the crazy things, and it's called Flames of Rapture by Riley Cade, and I believe the heroine is a succubus, and it says that she's been best friends with James, and her powers are starting to develop, and she can see all of James's fantasies. So their friendship is about to ratchet it up. So again, one of my friends already read this, and since, you know, I'm trying to read creatures and paranormal stuff in October, I thought this would be a good time to get to this one so I can support the author. This is her first book, and I do really love this cover. I think it's done really well, so we'll give that one a go. Then some other arcs and books I want to get to. So as I mentioned, A Curse of Queens by Amanda Boucher. This is within the same world and is like continuing the story of that world of the Kingmaker Chronicles, but it's going to be a different couple. So we're supposed to still see everyone we love, but there'll be more. The Boxing Baroness by Minerva Spencer. I love Minerva Spencer. I love her traditionally published books. I love her indie books. I love her titles under SM La Violette, and this one is supposed to be about a female boxer. And I believe that when I first heard about the series, which is why I signed up for this, it's going to be about like a female circus, I think. I don't quote me on that. And it's like based on some true events, maybe. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass right now, but I remember hearing about this when it was posted on like Minerva Spencer's website, and I've been excited to read it, and it's time. Then another book by Minerva Spencer, SM La Violette, is Their Master, and this one is supposed to be about a hero that we've been seeing around for the past books in the Victorian Decadence series. These series are historical erotica. They do have happy endings, but they're very dark. They often have like partner sharing. There's menages. There's also like threesomes and group sex, and like there's a lot, but they always are still very gut-wrenching, and they're very much like character studies in some ways, and like what sexuality was like at the time, and how kinky they still got. So I think this is supposed to be the last one in the series. I can't remember if she's going to continue or not, but I'm very intrigued to read Their Master when it comes out. The Taste of You by Ashley Mack. This will be the next book in the Census series by Ashley Mack, and I just got the arc for this today. I'm trying to make myself wait a little bit, but I literally want to read it immediately, so I might do that. But this is coming out, it's either October 6th, 7th, or 10th. I can't remember, but I actually got to meet Ashley last weekend at Wanderlust, which was so much fun, and I read The Sight of You just a couple days ago, and I really enjoyed it. And she said that this book, The Taste of You, was the couple that like gave her the idea for the whole series, which will be 4 books, but she needed to write the first book so that she could write this book. And I love when I read a book that was like an author's like idea for it. So I'm very intrigued. The first book was very steamy, and the hero was so obsessive, and she says the whole series will mostly have external conflict for the characters, not a ton of internal stuff, and that's my favorite. And I love when a genuine romance lover is writing me romances that just hit my spots, okay? They just hit my spots. Cruelly Bitten by Lexi C. Foss. So this is like the 3rd or 4th time this has showed up in a TBR. Lexi has had some personal things come up, and as it is with a indie author who has a very tightly packed release schedule. If you get off by one, you get off by everything. And so Cruelly Bitten has had to keep being pushed because she had books that were supposed to come out before that it wouldn't be fair if she like skipped it. But we're finally supposed to get this book in October, and it's going to wrap up the Blood Alliance series, okay? And I've been waiting very patiently, and I'm an understanding woman, but I need to know what happens with this couple, okay? I need it, and I'm ready for it. I also I don't have an arc for Cruelly Bitten. I'll read it when it comes out. I have an arc for I have an arc for The Duke Alone by Christy Cadwell. I don't know anything about this one, but I've been wanting to read a Christy Cadwell, and I think this is the start of a new series. Maybe, don't quote me. And I got it from NetGalley, so we're going to read it. Ruined Secrets by Neva Altaj. I haven't even read book 3, Hidden Truths, yet, but it comes out a couple days after I'm filming this. And then Ruined Secrets will be book 4, and I am keeping going with this series. I love it. Then there is A Very Bromance Christmas by Alyssa K. Adams. Yes, I know a lot of people are over this series, and I kind of am too. I didn't love book 4, which I wanted more for that character than I got, but I'm intrigued to go back. Like, I don't know, these books are always fun, and I got an arc for this one easily, so I went for it. So sue me, it's happening. We're gonna read that one. His Pretty Little Queen by Nikki Harris. I should be getting an arc for this one. I got an email that I will be. And this is book 5 in the Kids of the District series. Book 4 was a cliffhanger for this one. Book 4 and 5 will be about the same couple and our characters who are in some sticky situations. I'm ready to see what happens. This is Mafia. This one's an age gap taboo. The hero is actually married, but it's an interesting scenario. I won't spoil it, but I'm not mad about the cheating in this book. I'll just say that because it's very unlike me to be okay with a book like that. Resting Witch Face will hopefully be out on Halloween, and I will get an arc before then. Hopefully, Juliet is trying her very hardest to get this to us on time, okay? Juliet is someone who likes to give us 2 weeks at least for her arcs, which I think is amazing. Like, she always tries to give people a lot of time for her arcs, where I'm just used to indie authors giving me a book like 4 days before it comes out. But this is going to be Jules and Ruben, which, let me show it off. I just got my artwork in the mail for this. So this is Jules and Ruben. And we're going to find out the secrets, guys. We're going to find out the secrets, and I am ready for it. So it's going to be fantastic. This is going to be second chance romance. There's going to be a masquerade ball. There is a pining hero. Well, they're mutual pining. And hopefully a groveling hero, too. That's what I want. I don't know what he did, but I know he's got a grovel. Blood Orange by Karina Halley. Yes, I believe this is supposed to be Dracula's book. Books, like, technically these are sitting as standalones, but this is going to be connected to the Dark Eyes duet. Okay, there was the Dark Eyes duet, and then there was Night Wolf, which was listed as a standalone, but it comes after those other ones. And then this is going to be Blood Orange. So this will be book 4, and this will be Vlad's book, and I'm getting an arc of this one. And I haven't been loving everything Karina Halley's been doing, but I have been liking this series. And again, even though it's not being called a series, I can't wait to read this book. And I always love the covers in this series. It's fantastic. The Teacher of Nothing by Kay Webster. It is a forbidden student-teacher romance. That's all that I know. I'm sure it'll be a quickie. I don't read all of Kay Webster's releases, but when she puts my taboo tropes in ding, 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 I'm going to read it. And then, yeah, those are all the arcs that I have written down as of now. So, tell me which ones of those you're excited for. I can't wait. I need a drink before I go into the last section of the video. All right, now I have my other TBR. So like I said, I want to reread a couple of books this month. So I have some paranormal and like mystery books that I want to reread. And I just want to treat myself. I didn't want to overly pressure myself with the TBR this month because the last couple have been overwhelming. As you can see, all of those books I listed before, those are books that I'm pretty much committed to reading, okay? So this other section of my TBR is books that I like desire to get to. They're books I may like fill the TBR with and things like that. And so that's kind of where I went full bore with like the spooky vibes and the paranormal stuff. So the 2 books that I plan to reread is I'm going to reread and annotate Lothair. So this is my favorite chronicle. Is it my favorite chronicle? It's so difficult for me to choose. But I found this hardcover first edition when I went to Atlanta with the romance booktubers, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And my friend Carrie, when she went to a book event, she actually got a signed book plate for me from Kresley's assistant. So now I have technically a signed copy of Lothair. And she brought me a bookmark too, which I have a couple of these Monroe bookmarks, but we'll use that. And I'm going to reread this. I'm going to listen to the audio, spend some time with Elizabeth and Lothair and all the craziness. Going to reread that. Very excited for that one. Then I'm bringing back a series that I have owned and gotten rid of and owned and gotten rid of this series so many times since I first read it. And I used to read a lot of like crime, well, not a ton, but I would read crime and like FBI thrillers when I was a teen. And a series that I absolutely loved was the See No Evil like trilogy by Alison Brennan. And this is book 3 in a trilogy, and you can read this as a standalone. I mean, I did. It happened to be the first like book by this author I read, and then I read a bunch of her other ones. And the heroine in this one, well, not the heroine, the victim, the person that they're trying to save in this book, spoiler, they save her. This book is like 20 years old, so I don't feel bad saying that. When did it come out? 2007, so yeah, 15 years old. She becomes the heroine in an FBI series later on that I read quite a few of, and then I eventually gave up because I kind of got tired of those. But this is about Kate Donovan. Here, I'll actually read the back of this one, okay? Because I love this book, and it's a short blurb. Instead of preparing for high school graduation, Lucy Kinsett is facing a vicious execution. Lured by an online predator, she's destined to die horribly live on the internet. Well, hundreds of heartless viewers watch and vote on the method of her slaughter. Her family's only hope rests with Kate Donovan, an FBI agent who took on the same sadistic killer once before and lost. Blamed for another girl's gruesome murder, Kate's been fighting to clear her name, but she agrees to join the hunt for Lucy and reluctantly steps back into her worst nightmare. With time running out before the bloody webcast airs, Kate teams up with forensic psychiatrist Dylan Kinsett, who is Lucy's brother, to get inside the head of her twisted quarry, zero in on his chamber of horrors, and reach Lucy before grim history repeats itself and another innocent, brutal death goes hideously live. So most of the books in like Alison Brennan's like mystery world, like her thriller world, like there was The Prey, The Hunt and the Kill, and then there was Speak No Evil, See No Evil, Fear No Evil. They focused around the Kinsetts. So the Kinsetts are, I think there's 7 in the family, and they have a forensic psychiatrist, they have FBI agents, they have local sheriffs. Like their family is like in the military, and the like they're in all of that. And Lucy, their little sister, the person who kidnaps her, like I can't remember if he's trying to fuck with them or if he just wants her for her looks or whatever, but he doesn't know what he's gotten into. So this book used to terrify me and thrill me as a kid. It is sick and twisted. It is like, in this one we get to be in the head of like the villain who's doing this sexual sadist and like criminal, and it's disgusting, but I love this book so much. So it's finally time to reread it. I was like, in October I'm gonna do it, and I found the audiobook in the Audible sale, so it was only like $3, so I'm very excited about it. Then I have a couple other ones. So I want to read Shadow's Edge by J.T. Geisinger. This is her first book. I also found it on Anyplay. This one's on Anyplay. I didn't have to buy this on Audible. And this is her first book. And I believe, okay, so there's like shapeshifters and like vampires and shit. So it's a Night Prowler series. I don't know too much about it, but I know it's her first book. And I can't wait to try it. It's narrated by one of my favorite female narrators, Justine Eyre, and so I'm ready to give this a go. I actually have book 1 and 2 in this series that I found used, so I also got this one in Atlanta, so that's cool. I also want to try a Tea Kingfisher. So another, like, this one isn't a romance that I believe. All my friends have been reading Tea Kingfisher, and so I went to my Barnes & Noble, and I wanted to pick a physical copy because I like to read thrillers kind of physically, and I did also get the audio for this one. It's going to be an audio-heavy month. I'm excited. And this one is called The Twisted Ones, and this is what it says. When Mouse's dad asks her to clean out her dead grandmother's house, she says yes. After all, how bad could it be? Answer, pretty bad. Grandma was a hoarder, and her house is packed to the gills with useless garbage. Which would be horrors enough, but there's more. Mouse stumbles across her grandfather's journal, her step-grandfather's journal, which at first seems to be the ravings of a broken mind, until she encounters some of the terrifying things he describes herself. Alone in the woods with her dog, Mouse has to confront a series of impossible terrors, because sometimes the things that go bump in the night are real and they're looking for you, and if she doesn't face them head on, she might not survive to tell the tale. So, I want to try Tea Kingfisher. It was either this one or What the Dead Know, and I did not want to read that one, even though it's short. I didn't want to. So I'm going to try this one. Let me know if you've read this. But I'm going to read it anyway, so don't spoil anything for me. All right. Then I also have a recommendation from Sophie and Ryan Lark. Okay, they recommended this book to me. And so I want to try it. And I also grabbed the audiobook of this. So they recommended Troubled Blood by Robert Galbraith. And if you don't know, for some reason, that is J.K. Rowling's like adult thriller pen name or whatever. And they were talking this series up to me, but specifically Ryan was really talking about this book. And he's like, yes, you should read the series to build up to it so you see the character development. But if you're only going to read one of them, like, read this one. So the way that I'm planning to do this is, I'm going to read this one. And I'm going to, if I like it, I'll go back to the beginning. Because I have heard from some friends that, like, the first one or two were kind of like weaker books, which is fine, whatever. And I don't want to have to start there and push through to get to this one that Ryan and Sophie were recommending me. So when the Larks tell me to try a book, I want to try it. And it's a perfect one to fit into October for, like, spooky and mystery. And this one's supposed to be about a serial killer, but also, like, finding out whether he did a certain crime or not, because he's already on death row. But there's this family who just wants closure for if their mother, I think their mother, was killed by the serial killer or not. And so these partners are going to try to figure it out. So I'm going to try to read this. I hope you're getting me into something good, Larks. We'll see. And then I have a couple recommendations from viewers. Like I said, I'm not going to do too many of those this month. I do have a list of some more paranormals they're recommending, and I will pull them up if I get through what I want. So I actually own a copy of Bitten by Kelly Armstrong. I've only ever read some YA by Kelly Armstrong, funny enough. I read The Age of Legends when I was younger. And this one is the werewolf story. So I actually watched the first season of Bitten when it was on TV, which is funny. I don't remember anything about it except that the heroine's name was Elena, and I thought it was funny because the werewolf show had a heroine named Elena, and so did the Vampire Diaries. And so Elena Michaels, she lives with her boyfriend and writes for a newspaper, and she's a wolf, and she's done everything she can to assimilate to human world, but the man whose bite changed her existence forever and his legacy continue to haunt her. Thrown into a desperate war for survival that tests her allegiance to a secret clan of werewolves, Elena must reckon with who and what she is in this passionate page-turning novel. So I know a lot of people love this series, so again, gonna give it a try. And then the last one that's a viewer rec is actually Clayton by Rochelle Mills. Oh no, I guess I have two. So there's Clayton by Rochelle Mills, which I think is a gay, like, alien arranged marriage. I think. I didn't write down what it's about, but I want to read that one. And then Unnatural by Alessandra Hazard. This was on Anyplay. So I was like, great, I'll add that. And I can't remember what this one is about. I'm pretty sure it's paranormal somehow. So yeah, that one's on my list too. And that was a viewer recommendation. So there we go. That is everything I'm going to try to read in October, and we'll see what happens. Things may change along the way. I may end up doing more rereads of Presley Cole and dive into more of that. I may end up binging different series. I don't know what'll happen, but I am excited to step back into some like mystery and like spookier stuff, because I did used to read a lot of that. I just haven't lately because I like things to be happier. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this. Make sure you check out my other videos. I do recommendations every week. I have 3 to 4 videos that go up, and definitely check out my Patreon if you want to support me that way. And I'll see you next time. Bye.